Derrick Rose makes his Knicks debut this year and played well. 20 minutes, 14 points. At one point in the first half, he was a plus 20. Like Sunday, however, Tyler Hero comes up huge down the stretch with a big three, puts Miami up by 3. Last chance for the Knicks. They're down 2. They get a great chance here off the inbounds. R.J. Barrett is open, can't make the lay-in, and Miami holds on to win 98-96. From our Delta MSG studios, great to have you with us. Bill Pito and Wally Zerbiak here. Alan Hahn from his home studio. And guys, boy, it's very similar to Sunday. So close down the stretch, just unable to hit the big shot when it mattered the most.
Wow. I mean, that was bodies flying everywhere, physical playoff-type basketball. 2 really good coaches just playing a big-time chess match, and give the Knicks a ton of credit. On a night where Julius Randle really struggled because the defense was loading up on him completely, and he was dealing with really, really good defenders in this league, other guys stepped up. Other guys gave him the opportunity to get into this game at the end of down the stretch. And the Knicks are just going to have to figure out how to win these close games. They're going to have to figure out the right combinations. They're getting stops. I think their defense is really good. But offensively, right now, they're searching for a guy to make a play when it counts. I mean, you saw R.J. Barrett. He had a move that he hasn't missed at all, pretty much all season long. I thought Jimmy Butler might have been hand-checking a little bit, that threw R.J. off a little bit and made him float that ball a little bit higher off the glass than he wanted to. But the officials, I don't really blame the officials too often. There were some suspect calls in this game, but you got to live with those. It was a close game down the stretch, and Knicks just can't make those plays against, a team that was in the finals last year. Let's not forget, that team is really good, and they were in the finals last year.
Well, I'm glad you said it, because I didn't want to be the only one to do it. Let's begin with that. It's a Heat team that's now starting to play well, starting to play like that team that made that run. They are a tough defensive team, tough to execute against. They make it very difficult, and they've been together. So they kind of already know where they're supposed to be and what they do together, whereas the Knicks still figuring it out. But aside from that, you know how we always talk about margin for error? Your margin for error now for the Knicks. I mean, they missed a lot of open looks in that fourth quarter, and you got to knock those down. Why? Because, as you mentioned, Tom Washington's crew had a bad game. Both sides were frustrated, but there were a couple of calls. Mitch Robinson got fouled on that rebound attempt by Olynyk. That was a foul. He got shoved. They don't call it. Why? Because Lauren Holtkamp didn't see it, not in position, and they call the other one. That's number one. There were several different calls there that you just shake your head at, and you wonder, what are you looking at? That's frustrating. But margin of error, of course, you got to make shots when you have them, and they had a ton of open looks, and they didn't make them. Execution continues to be a problem down the stretch against good defensive teams. But I'll tell you what, if these two teams had a playoff series, it would feel like the 90s. I mean, this was knockdown, drag out, physical basketball. It wasn't pretty to watch, but it was fun to watch down the stretch. And you can see what Tom Thibodeau has going here and what he's trying to put together. Because I'll tell you what, Quickley and Rose together, although Quickley didn't shoot well, there's something there that's going to be interesting to watch that develop over the next couple of games.
Rose and Quickley pretty much played together the whole night when they were out on the court. And when you look, guys, at the minutes distribution, really evenly distributed and tremendous balanced scoring. 6 Knicks scored at least 9 points, and Quickley had 7. So they got help from everybody, but they couldn't hit the big bucket again with a game on the line. Julius Randle had a chance, and Barrett had a chance.
And their defense was great to keep giving an opportunity. And this was the big play by Elfrid Payton, who got reinserted in the lineup with 5 minutes to go. He had a big game with 18 points. He ties the game at 90. Then R.J. Barrett, he got reinserted too. The Knicks take the lead at 92-91. But Kelly Olynyk, really, dude? You didn't make a shot in the whole second half, and you're going to make that one on us?
He had 17 in the first half.
I know. And then Tyler Hero, I'm used to him doing that. He did that to the Knicks on Sunday. That gave the Heat a 3-point lead, but Emmanuel Quickley, ice in his veins with the floater, cuts the lead to 1. 97-96, Miami Heat right now. Julius Randle drives down 1. This is the play Allen was talking about. Kelly Olynyk with the cross body block. Mitchell Robinson goes down, and they call the foul on Julius Randle. Jimmy Butler acting his way to a free throw. He makes 1 out of 2, and then there you go. R.J. Barrett just can't get to the bucket to go to tie the game. The Knicks were down 2 at that point. Oh, just a heartbreaking loss. This Miami Heat team is tough. They have veterans. They know how to get those little plays, those little calls. That's kind of Pat Riley's motto and MO with his teams. But give the Knicks a lot of credit. Like you said, Bill, 7 guys that had major contributions on a night where Julius Randle didn't play well. That was a big-time effort and performance. But, hey, they got to get back to the drawing board, get some wins, because now the Knicks are 4 games under 500. Miami Heat are also 10-14, so they're right there with the Knicks in the standings. And, you know, it's all about getting into that 7-10 spot for the Knicks in the playoffs.
Well, you mentioned Randall, only 4 of 17 from the floor. On the positive side, Alan, Rose looked really good. I mentioned 20 minutes, 14 points, and was really especially effective in the second quarter.
Yeah, I can tell that Spencer's in your ear saying, give Allen something positive to talk about because he looks like he's really mad. Can't stand losing to the Heat, all right? I know everybody out there understands what I'm talking about. But Derrick Rose got into the game, and it looked like somebody that was completely unshackled. Like, it looked like somebody that felt like, oh, I'm comfortable now. I'm back in this as an Obi top, and I loved while he said at halftime. He couldn't believe he got the ball. Well, wait a minute. That doesn't happen on a roll. What a beautiful finish there. But his defense was also on point. That's something that Tibbs believes. He does play defense and can play it well. He just looked comfortable for a guy that just walked into the gym. No practice, no workout, no nothing. But just, you could tell he was comfortable in the system, comfortable with people around him. And you know what I kind of felt from this team for a while throughout this game? There was a little bounce going on there. There was something special. Even the players felt it. And boy, the grin on Emmanuel Quickley's face, guys, when he entered the game together with Derrick Rose, he was almost like thinking to himself, like, this is going to be really cool. I can't wait to see these two guys over the next couple of games and see what they can develop off the bench as a unit. Because, by the way, the bench in this game, 42-18, outscored the Heat bench.
Nerlens Noel was really good.
Yep.
Quickly was effective, didn't necessarily shoot well. Excellent minutes from Alec Burks. The Knicks' second unit, especially Wally, in that second quarter, you look down at the box score, and I mentioned at one point Quickly and Rose were plus 20.
This second unit is really, really good. And what you need in the NBA now, right now is you need playmakers. You need ball handlers that can create offense. In a first unit and a second unit, it doesn't matter if they're both point guards. You need 2 point guards out there on the floor. Noel will do all the dirty work. He will defend the rim. Derrick Rose looked as quick as I've seen him in a long time. I mean, he was all over the place with his speed, with his athleticism, with his ability to dart through the lane, get to the basket, and he was flying around there on defense too. And that's a great sign. You put Obi Toppin with that lineup, his game is going to complement those 2 playmakers, and Alec Burks helps spread the floor, so when those guys drive, they're not going to have guys waiting for him in the middle of the paint. I'm really excited with this acquisition of Derrick Rose. I agree, Alan. They have a swagger and a moxie that they didn't have, and now going into gyms, they're going to be like, whoa, we got to deal with Derrick Rose on the second unit of this team. It was a good acquisition and pickup.
And you mentioned it, but worth mentioning again, guys, Elfrid Payton.
Yeah.
18 points, really good in the first quarter with 9, and also on the court down the stretch when the game was on the line.